Today we'll be recapping a 2023 action vigilante film called Equalizer 3, where a retired CIA officer blends in with the local people of a town and saves them from a deadly gang. So, let's get started. The movie begins in Sicily, Italy, where an old man named Lorenzo Vitale goes to a winery with his son, but Lorenzo tells him to wait in the car while he goes inside the building. Inside, he sees a lot of dead people, and then finally goes to the basement where he finds a man named Robert McCall with 2 security guards. Robert tells Lorenzo that he wants to get something that Lorenzo has, and that it doesn't belong to him. Lorenzo is surprised that Robert has found him and warns him that he won't leave the winery alive. Robert challenges Lorenzo, saying he has only 9 seconds to save himself, but Lorenzo doesn't take him seriously. True to his word, right after 9 seconds, Robert kills the guards and then shoots Lorenzo as well, who keeps trying to crawl away. Robert delivers the final shot, ending Lorenzo's life, and after that, he escapes the basement with a backpack. When Robert gets outside, he sees Lorenzo's son, who shoots Robert, and as soon as Robert turns around to fight back, the boy drops his weapon and flees. On his way back, Robert loses consciousness, and a local police officer named Gio Bonucci finds him in critical condition. In a town named Altamonte, Gio takes Robert to a doctor named Enzo, who takes care of his injuries. When Robert wakes up, he is shocked to see his surroundings, and Enzo informs him that he will leave this place as soon as he recovers. Over the next few days, Enzo takes care of Robert, and on the 3rd day, Robert recovers from his injuries, so he starts exploring the town. While he is roaming around, Robert sees the police, so he goes to a nearby cafe to have some tea. However, upon the waitress, Amina's request, he orders coffee, and suddenly, the same local police officer, Gio, comes to the cafe with his daughter Gabby for a usual visit. Gio tells Robert that he was the one who took him to the doctor. He then gives Robert his car keys and then leaves with his daughter. Back at Enzo's place, Robert makes an anonymous call to the CIA's Financial Operations Group and speaks with Agent Emma Collins. He informs her about the mysterious winery in Sicily, which seems to be importing wine from Syria. Emma is skeptical of Robert calling her, but then she informs other CIA officers about the winery. Over the following days, Robert spends time getting along with the locals and the different business owners in the marketplace. During this period, he also observes a troublesome gang intimidating the local residents and pressuring them to hand over their money as a regular payment. He then sees some men smuggling drugs through a sea route. One day, Robert witnesses a gang member named Marco attacking a local seafood seller, Angelo, to collect money. As the gang leaves the restaurant, Marco threatens Angelo that he will return next week, so he must keep the amount ready for collection. Marco then meets his elder brother Vincent, the leader of the Italian mafia, who tells him that Marco will soon be handling huge drug deals. The next day, Enzo takes Robert to Angelo's restaurant, and there, Robert offers Angelo some money because of the loss he suffered yesterday. However, Angelo declines to take payment, emphasizing that he values the honor of having Enzo's friend visit his shop for the first time. Meanwhile, the entire team of CIA agents led by Emma heads to the targeted location, informed by Robert. The team finds the winery, and not only do they discover illegal drugs there, but also millions of dollars in cash. This revelation surprised them because this group wasn't even on their watch list. Emma and her colleague, Frank Conroy, decide to keep investigating to gather any additional information they can find. One night, Robert is astonished to see chaos in the town as many people run here and there. Robert discovers that someone has set fire to Angelo's shop. While people are busy mourning, Robert sees the Italian mafia with Marco and understands that they are the culprits. Later, Robert assists Angelo and the rest of the town in cleaning up the mess. Meanwhile, Gio investigates the CCTV recordings of the incident and initiates an inquiry about the van seen outside Angelo's shop when it was set on fire. After some days, while Robert is peacefully enjoying his tea at a cafe, he notices Emma, who has finally managed to track him down. She also sits with him and asks why he contacted her and how he had such detailed information regarding the winery's activities. Robert tells her that he had just passed by that winery and decided to share that information with the CIA. Emma attempts to get to know more about him, but Robert tries changing the conversation by telling her that he genuinely wants to help her and that getting more information about him would take her nowhere. When Gio goes to pick up Gabby from school that day, he receives a strange call informing him that her school ended a bit earlier than usual. When he inquires with Gabby's teacher, he learns that an officer had picked Gabby up just a while ago. Gio rushes home to find his wife and daughter being held captive by Marco and his men. This is because Gio was investigating the case of Angelo's restaurant being set on fire, and now Marco attacks Gio. He beats him severely while his family is forced to watch. He puts Gabby at gunpoint and threatens Gio that if he interferes with their business again, he will face the consequences. The gang leaves and Gio goes to Enzo so he may treat his wounds while Robert notices this all. Robert talks to Enzo about the ongoing chaos in the town, and Enzo explains that incidents like the one Gio experienced are common here because of a criminal organization known as the Camorra, also known as the Italian Mafia. He tells Robert that Marco's gang is also a part of the Camorra, and people are just helpless in front of them. Later, Emma and Robert meet at a church, and Emma tells him that he is just like a ghost because she can't find any information about him. She is still confused about how Robert had so much information about the winery and why he only contacted her. Emma inquires Robert about his intentions, but he tells her that she should instead focus on understanding why Sicily was a target for smuggling activities through the sea. Emma leaves by telling him that she hopes to know the answers to all her questions in the next meeting. That evening, Gio goes to a restaurant to spend some time with his family, but unfortunately, Marco arrives there, and Gio's family gets scared. He informs Gio that he needs a favor from him in negotiating with a Somali family to secure some of their boats for the gang's use. Robert, who is also in the restaurant, keeps staring at Marco, and Marco notices this. Enraged, Marco goes to Robert's table and warns him to stay out of the matters that don't concern him. He makes it clear that he doesn't appreciate threats, and then orders him to leave the town. In response, Robert advises Marco to take his friends and find another place for their filthy business. He also tells Marco that he isn't leaving the town because this town is just like his family now. When Marco doesn't take Robert seriously, Robert retaliates by attacking Marco and pressing on a sensitive nerve in Marco's hand, causing him intense pain. This forces Marco to order his men to leave, and he also hands over his weapon to Robert. After leaving the restaurant, Marco plans with his men to kill Robert, but surprisingly, Robert arrives there and kills Marco's gang members. Marco then engages in a physical confrontation with Robert, but Robert overpowers him and eventually stabs him, ending his life. The next morning, Gio finds Marco dead and then discovers drugs in his car. Meanwhile, Frank contacts Emma from Rome to inform her about the most recent train station bombing there. They have discovered that the money generated from the narcotics was used to fund these terrorist activities. Emma informs Frank that she will apprehend the distributors of the narcotics, and eventually, the CIA team starts killing different members of the mafia. After Marco's death ceremony, the chief of police of Naples pays a visit to Vincent and informs him about the arrival of the CIA. The chief suggests to Vincent that he should stop all his illegal activities for some time because he suspects that Emma will soon discover Camorra's involvement in drug dealing and how it is connected with funding several terrorist activities. He reassures Vincent that he will deal with the situation involving Emma. In response, Vincent tells him that he will continue his business the way it always has been, but the chief informs him that if he doesn't stop, the CIA will soon capture him. Hearing this, Vincent brutally cuts off the chief's hand and orders him to invest his time in finding out who was responsible for Marco's death instead. Robert finds some drugs and immediately calls Emma, telling her that Camorra is responsible for the ongoing illegal activities. He warns her to be careful about her surroundings, and while speaking with Robert, Emma keeps walking to her car. A deadly bomb detonates right in front of her. Emma gets pushed away and narrowly escapes the blast, sustaining serious injuries. She is immediately taken to the hospital for treatment, and Frank promises her that he will take over the remainder of her work. Unfortunately, Vincent captures Gio and his family as hostages and makes a public announcement in Altamonte, demanding that the person responsible for Marco's death step forward. He shoots at Gio's ear and warns that he'll kill him with the next shot if his brother's killer doesn't reveal himself. As Vincent threatens Gio and his family, he hears Robert's voice telling him that he had warned his brother to stop his illegal activities and continue them somewhere else, but he kept creating chaos in the town. Vincent demands that he come out, and Robert eventually reveals himself. He throws away his gun and tells Vincent that he should let go of Gio's family and, in exchange, he can kill the killer of his brother. However, Vincent, just as arrogant as his brother, responds that he has the right to take whatever he deems suitable. With that, he points his gun at Robert and is about to pull the trigger. But suddenly, Enzo arrives there with a gun. All the townspeople unite and threaten the few gang members. Seeing this, Vincent becomes scared and warns Robert that he will meet him again soon. Vincent and his men have a discussion about Robert, and Vincent asks them if they have any information about him. However, the members inform him that he seems like a retired officer or a member of an enemy gang, but no information about Robert has been found yet. Nonetheless, Vincent tells them that they have to kill him by the next morning. When Vincent sleeps, Robert sneaks into his house and kills all the guards one by one. Vincent wakes up feeling blood drops on his face and then sees a guard's dead body hanging right above his head. He gets scared, takes a gun, and starts shooting. Vincent demands Robert to come out, and Robert delivers a strong punch, making him unconscious. He then ties him up and forces him to take all of his deadly drugs, which makes his condition critical. Hours later, Robert unties Vincent and tells him that he might survive if he can make it to the hospital. Vincent tries rushing to the hospital, but he meets with an accident on the way and eventually dies. The townspeople celebrate the death of the mafia's leader, and in the news, people are informed about the CIA's success in apprehending all the members of the Italian mafia. This all happened because of an anonymous tip, and Emma watches this news on her hospital bed. Just then, Robert arrives there, and she expresses her gratitude to him because if he hadn't made the call, she would have died in her car. Robert puts down the bag of cash he brought with him from the winery earlier and tells Emma about a man named Dyer who lost his pension due to a cyber attack. Robert had traced the cyber attack to the winery in Sicily, and that's why he confronted and defeated Lorenzo's men, including Lorenzo himself. He then took the exact amount of cash owed to Dyer, despite the fact that there was a huge amount of money that Robert could easily have stolen. When she inquires if Dyer is a friend, Robert mentions that they had only met once. When Emma leaves Italy, she travels to Boston to deliver the bag of cash to Dyer and his wife, who are relieved that they won't lose their house. They express their gratitude to Emma, and then she leaves. Back at the CIA office, Emma receives a package containing her mother's diary and a note from Robert. It is then revealed that Emma is the daughter of Brian and Susan Plummer, who were friends of Robert from the CIA. That's why he only contacted her when he came to know about the illegal activities of the Italian mafia. Emma is awarded with a promotion for her key role in eliminating the Italian mafia. Robert still lives in the same town in Italy and becomes a part of their celebration when their football team wins the match. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.